My hands were sticky. I realized it's blood. My whole damn hands were covered in it. That's when it hit me. When I get out, I'll be 44. And then she drops it on me. You do know that kid ain't even yours, right? I'm like, what the hell do you mean? I always tried to live by some kind of moral code, by conscience, by what's fair. But going home? That was useless. No breakfast, no lunch, no dinner. At home I was just extra. Like, nobody really gave a shit if I was there or not. Life cornered me, bro. Straight pushed me into stealing. Not that stick-up bullshit on the street, like rolling up on someone and mug them, all this gangsta lifestyle. Life of a human being starts in the womb. From the very womb, a baby's life begins. And everyone's born different, because every family's different. In my case, shit was rough from the jump, right from the womb. Why? I'll tell you straight. Because my mom didn't even want to have me. Why didn't she want to give birth to me? Because I got 2 sisters from her first marriage. And I happened to be from the second one. We're not even the same kind of people. We have little in common. My sisters are light-haired. I'm the only dark one in the family. And even back then, when I was still inside her, she was already trying to get rid of me. She tried to strangle and poison me. Straight up, poisoning herself, trying to kill me so I wouldn't be born. It was the wild 80s. I was born in 1985. Then came the hard-ass 90s. No money, everything by ration cards. 2 kids already, and then a third one from another dude. That's why she wanted an abortion, straight up to get rid of me. At that time, my birth father was trying to stop her from doing that. He knew what she was up to, kept an eye on her, and when she went to the hospital, he caught her there. He nearly dragged her out by the hair to make sure she was not gonna do abortion. The question is, why was I even born if my own mother didn't want me? My whole life is the answer to this question. I was born like that ugly duckling from the cartoon. 8 months, premature labor. I was a preemie. 'Cause she'd been trying to poison me, strangle me, do this, do that, all kinds of shit just to stop me from being born. I wasn't supposed to make it. It was supposed to be a miscarriage, a stillborn baby. But somehow, man, the Almighty got me. Till I was 3, I was sick as hell. Like, really fucked up. Caught everything you could think of. Had the shits, bronchitis, non-stop, back-to-back. I was a mess, man. From the moment I was born till 3 years old, I was just a sick, broken little kid. Life kept breaking me every damn way it could. But somehow my guardian angel held me down. After 3, I started getting stronger health-wise. But life didn't really get better. Late 80s turning into the rough-ass 90s. We were always broke, always in need. My mom was deep into drinking. She started sipping, then went on a bender and turned full-on alcoholic. And I saw all of it. My sisters were way older than me. They had already broken off from her. They started working. Alyona was hustling at 13, Irina at 14. They were already making their own money. But I was just a little kid, around 4 years old. I couldn't make money. I had to live with whatever the hell was around me. My real dad couldn't help me at all, because when I was just 8 months old, he got locked up for 8 years. He was a trucker, and at some point he ended up doing time. 8 years straight. The charge was under Article 102, murder. So I pretty much never saw my dad. By the time I hit 5, I already started getting what life's about. How to survive, how to just exist, you know? Going home didn't make any sense. No breakfast, no lunch, no dinner, nothing. At home, it was like I didn't even exist there. Like I was nobody to my mom. They had their own life going on. And no matter how harsh that sounds coming out of my mouth, that's just the truth. Cold, hard truth. Everyone's life turns out different. Well, mine has been like that. Since I was a kid, I was always hanging around neighbors and friends. Neighbors used to feed me. My friends' moms gave me food. That's kinda how I got by. Just scraping through, you know? Then they got me into school. Basically, school was where I got fed. Didn't really have breakfast at all. Lunch at school was all I had. The good thing was that back then school meals were free. Now everything's paid to eat, but back in those days it was free. Later, around to 4th or 5th grade, they started charging for it. But we didn't have money. My mom didn't. By then I already had a stepdad, Volodya. Solid man, by the way. But still, we had no cash. I was like 9 or 10 at the time. I would come to school, sit there in a class with 30 kids, all of them with parents who paid for their meals, because they came from good families. And I was from a messed up one. I remember feeling ashamed as hell. That's when I first really felt what shame was. I was ashamed of my parents. Ashamed they couldn't even scrape together enough for me to eat at school. But what could I do? Nothing really. Except go out and start begging. And I was tired of it. Life pushed me to start stealing straight up. I started jacking metal, scrap and all that, then selling it off for cash. That's how I covered basic stuff. School lunch, school supplies. Just surviving. But deep down, I knew where this was all heading, and it wasn't anywhere good. Either they would put me on a list as a juvenile delinquent, or worse, ship me off to a foster home or some state-run hellhole. And I really didn't want to end up there, so I turned to sports. See, back then in the 90s, if you were into sports, the school could fix you up with some budget money that would go toward your meals, your training, all that. Free food, free gym. And I knew, in the 90s, being strong meant everything. If you were physically tough, people treated you better. The guys looked at you with respect, spoke to you with more respect. Athletes could build real connections, ones that could actually help in life. Back then, the whole street game, the so-called gangster world, was pretty much run by former athletes with martial arts background. Those guys were the real deal for us, straight-up authority figures. Athletes were the ones running the show out there. They called the shots on the streets. They were the ones in charge, the ones we looked up to. So yeah, I started hitting martial arts too. Really got into sambo, self-defense stuff, went all in. And with all the progress I was making, some of the older guys started pulling me into their circle. We weren't out there robbing people or doing grimy stuff we'd be ashamed of later, like beating folks up or torturing somebody. Nah, none of that. We were just stealing scrap metal. And not from regular folks, let's be clear. We were jacking metal and different odds and ends from factories that were owned by the city, by the government. I'm from Chuvasha region. Back then, Chuvasha was all about production. Out in the fields, they had these hop processing plants set up. What's the proper name for them? I don't know. Let's just call them mini factories. The fields were covered in hops. From the nearest village to those plants, there were aluminum wires stretched out for kilometers to power those factories. Basically, what we did was, we'd cut the power in the village, 'cause at night those plants would shut down anyway, and they were sitting right in the middle of the field. Once all the workers knocked off, we'd roll up to the village, kill the power. Each village was a little different. Some places had 3 kilometers of power lines, some 5, maybe 6, sometimes just 2. All depended on where the hop processing plant was. So during the night, we'd strip all that wiring. By morning, we'd have ripped out like 3 to 4 tons of it. And first thing in the morning, we'd cash it in. That's how we lived off that money. Yeah, I stole, but I wasn't breaking into houses or anything like that. Not that stick-up bullshit on the street, like rolling up on someone and mug them, all this gangsta lifestyle. Nah, that wasn't me. We had our crew, all athletes. My circle back then? Yeah, we were all into sports. Guys who were living clean, chasing that healthy lifestyle. But times were rough as hell. And if you were an athlete, you needed to eat right, have proper sportswear. All that stuff cost money. Some of us came from good homes, some didn't. But all the guys were into sports. That's what we were about. I was rolling with that crew too. But to feed myself, get some clothes, shoes, I had to hustle somehow. I lived by a set of moral principles, a code of conduct, by what's right and fair. That's my thing. Why? 'Cause since I was a kid, I had that ugly duckling feeling. Always felt like the odd one out. Speaking of that stretch from birth to 18, man, it was rough. That time left a serious mark. Even now, if I wanted to do something shady or unfair, I just can't. That part of my past just won't let me. Not 'cause life blocks me or whatever, but 'cause I get it. Deep down, I know. If I wasn't meant to be here, I'd have been gone many times over. Back in those wild days, man, it felt like the big man upstairs sent me an angel straight up. Been carrying me since I was in the womb, no cap. And not just carrying me for fun. Nah, for something real, for a purpose. Now that I'm hitting 40, I'm finally starting to get what it was all about. Thank God for real that my guardian angel and the Almighty pulled me out of that mess back then, gave me a chance. With the kind of childhood I had, that rough-ass life, I made it to 18. That's a miracle. And at 18, I didn't wait for drafting. I joined the army myself. I didn't want to keep messing around in that street life, all that gangster BS. Deep down, I already wanted to be a real one, a proper dude. I saw people around me, families, chill neighbors, solid folks. I wanted that too. But back then, before 18, I had no real options. Life was tough on me from the start. My sisters, they disowned me. Cold as fuck. Back then, they didn't give a shit. I was just a ghost to them, an outcast. Like I didn't even exist. My mom had the same attitude. Didn't matter if I was there or not. She couldn't care less. I was out there on my own, no backup, no support. Had to survive, hustle, stay sharp, just not to go under. There wasn't a single soul who pulled me up and said, "Yo, kid, this is how you live right." Nobody showed me the ropes. I had to figure all that out the hard way. Who were my role models back then? The streets and my coaches. That's it. Coach was like a real dad to me. The streets? Like a mother. That's how I lived, hustling, stealing just to stay afloat. I was like that till I hit 18. Always hustling, swerving this way and that, just trying to not end up in some dead-end mess. I was ducking and diving through it all. Then I bounced and joined the army. I did not wait for the draft. Did it of my own free will. Figured the army might be my shot to level up, get on a better track. Thought it could open some doors, you know. And since I had all my skills from sports and all that, soon as I got to the main draft center, they singled me out right away. Sent me straight to the border service of the FSB. Even the big dogs, colonels, captains, majors saw something in me. Didn't matter that I came from a rough-ass background. They were like, nah, this kid's got it. He belongs in the FSB. I am not getting above myself, but that spot wasn't easy to get into. That place was mostly for kids from well-off families, you know? But me, I got in strictly because of my sports creds. They saw what I'd done, and that was enough. First 6 months, I ended up in this unit called the Sijansky platoon, and in just half a year, boom, I was already squad leader. Squad leader for radiochemical and biological defense. Yeah, that was my official position. While the rest of the rookies were out there learning how to shoot, march, all the basic boot camp stuff, I was already on the command track. Like, from the jump, they were training me to run my own squad. So while everyone else was getting taught one thing, I was getting schooled on something completely different. 6 months in, I had my stripes, junior sergeant. Then they shipped me out to the North Caucasus region, 125th Border Detachment, 1st Border Outpost. But before they dropped me on the actual border post, I spent another 6 months in the commandant company, kind of like a holding unit before the real deal. The commandant company at the base, that was elite too. Not just anyone could get in there. I did 6 months in that unit. Pulled up already as a junior sergeant. After that, they sent me out to my first border outpost. Showed up there as a sergeant. From there I climbed up, senior sergeant, and then boom, staff sergeant. Ended up as the deputy commander of the 2nd Rifle Platoon. My position changed once I hit the outpost. I was out there putting in serious work, caught a ton of border jumpers and smugglers. And for holding it down like that, doing my job solid on the state border, I got letters of commendation from both the unit and the whole detachment, signed off by Colonel Matnik. That was our detachment commander back then. When my 2 years of mandatory service were almost up, he's the one who came up and offered me a contract. He kinda knew my story. Not all the details, but enough to get that I didn't really have anywhere to go. Over those 2 years, he pretty much got to know every soldier, every backstory, who's who, and what they've been through. So like a week before I was done, he pulls me aside and goes, "Konstantin, maybe you should stay, sign a contract. I mean, what you gonna do when you get back home? What's even waiting for you out there?" And man, he said the right words. Hit me in the gut with that one. Plus, the army pay was actually solid. So I went home for 45 days, chilled, cleared my head, came back, and signed that 1-year contract. Back then, we're talking 2005, I was making like 70k rubles a month. Man, that was serious cash back then. I didn't even know what to do with it. I was trying to save some, but ended up buying different gadgets, all kinds of stuff. I didn't have that mindset of saving up for something big or important. I was living large, thought like a dumbass, clueless idiot that it was always gonna be like that. Did my year, stacked up a bit of money. Not a fortune, but enough. And yeah, met a girl. Back when I signed that contract, mostly because the money was real good. This girl I was seeing basically got with me for the cash. Straight up, she was after my money, not me. And when the contract was close to ending, she started acting up, throwing shade like, "You should quit already." Said the army life wasn't cutting it for her because I couldn't give her enough attention. Most of my time I was locked into the base, serving the country, and she wanted all the attention in the world, but the job just didn't give me enough time for that. So yeah, she started acting moody, and I fell for it, gave in, ended up breaking the contract, and man, that's when my life started going sideways. Hardly had I quit the service, we broke up. Just like that. As for the money I had saved, gone in a flash, like poof, disappeared. That's when it hit me. I gotta figure something out, get a job, do something. But the thing was, outside of giving orders and running a squad, I didn't know jack. Couldn't build nothing, couldn't drive. I was useless for regular life. All I'd learned in those 3 years was how to command. So I packed up and headed to Moscow. Well, actually first I went back to Chuvashia, to my hometown. My mom, God rest her soul, she was still alive back then. I came back to her. She was proud of me, man. All those years I was serving, she always told people about me, always proud. She was proud to have a son like that, you know? Because when I went off to the army, most of the guys I grew up with, man, they went downhill fast. Drugs, booze, some ended up in prison. Everyone's life took a different turn, but not many went the right way. Only few of us actually stayed clean and tried to live a normal life. Just a handful. You could count them on one hand. The rest were either in the ground, behind bars, or just straight up lost. And my mom, she was proud of me for not becoming one of them. You know what's always stuck in my head? That feeling, and it still doesn't let go. Even now, after I grew up, got stronger, started thinking straight and making something of myself. And now they say they're proud of me, but to be honest, I don't even see them as real family. They're just people, words, like they exist, but they don't mean anything to me. They weren't there when I was a kid when I needed them. My mom, my 2 sisters, to me, they're just words. I don't attach any significance to these words. 'Cause from the jump, I never felt that love or attention a mom's supposed to give her kid. The older sisters, the ones who were supposed to guide me, look out for me, they weren't there either. I didn't get any of that growing up. That's just how life started for me. Rough from the get-go. Even when I was still in the womb, man, I could feel it. I didn't feel any love, no warmth, nothing. A baby can feel when their mom's excited, waiting for them to be born, loving them already. I felt like I wasn't wanted, like death was already hanging over me. I felt it, like people wished I'd be stillborn. And I've been fighting that feeling ever since. My whole damn life. It's like someone's always out to get me. Always some threat, always some battle. And I just keep fighting through it, every time. Came to Moscow. Same old story, same fight all over again. It was 2006. The wild 90s had kinda cooled off by then. All that chaos started fading, and things in society were slowly getting a bit better. But still, life in Russia, it didn't get much better. Yeah, maybe a little better, but just barely. Like, you'd have to squint to see the difference. No real stability yet. Not really. But I'm just speaking for myself, from my own experience. The people who had a mom and dad around since day one, their folks gave them a direction, you know, showed them the way, and they just followed that path. Like, they got guided and rolled on cruise control from there. But my road's been rough as hell, full of bumps. I never had that moment where I lost my way and someone stepped in like, hey, maybe try this instead, go at it like that. Nah, I had to mess up on my own and learn the hard way, more than once. A lot of the time I really did it the hard way, but I took those L's, learned my lessons, and kept it moving. In my life, I've come across a lot of good people, like seriously, a whole bunch of good folks, and I actually listened to them, and I was able to get their point. I learned how to hear people out, not just nod along, but really listen. You feel me? Learn to weigh things out, figure what's right and what's wrong. From everything I saw and heard, I tried to pick out those real-life lessons that had actually come in handy later. I was lucky enough to soak up some wisdom just from the way people shared stuff with me. Through convos, new connections, all kinds of life situations. All of it helped me get my head on straight and walk through life without stepping on the same damn rake twice. At one point, I had a call from my former unit, and they offered me to re-sign my contract, but this time with a different military unit in a whole other part of the country. For example, I was stationed in the Caucasus, right? And they were trying to ship me off to Khakassia or somewhere that far in the far east of Russia. I refused, tried to get back to my old unit, even wrote a request to return. But my spot was already taken. That was it. The train had left the station. So I came back here, started doing odd jobs, got hired on a construction site as a general laborer. At first I did grunt work, then I picked up some carpentry, moved on to finishing work, and eventually became an industrial climber. Started making some decent cash in Moscow, especially once I got into the climbing gigs. Then, surprise, surprise, met a girl. And boom, here comes the mess again. Blew money left and right like I had no breaks. Same old story. Nothing good came out of that. Maybe I'm part of the problem too. I suck at choosing girls. Some people just know how to pick the right one, not me. Later on, I got a job at this company called Neoclimate. They do climate systems and stuff. I was working there as a climber. At that same company, I picked up the whole installation game. They did the full package. Sales, install service, maintenance for AC units and ventilation systems. That's where I really learned the trade. Became an installer. So now I was a combo. Climber installer. Which meant double the cash. Got paid for climbing and for the installs. After a while, though, I got tired of physical work. Moved up to being a manager. Money started rolling in again. Here in Moscow, everything seemed to be going smooth. But man, when you're young, it's hard to stay away from all the temptations and flashy things that are gettable in a big city. Moscow's flashy. Fancy cars, beautiful women, shiny storefronts. It all pulls you in, messes with your head. Met a girl, we got married, had the wedding, and yep, same old story. Relationship problems started creeping in again. When we met, it had only been like a week since she broke up with her ex. She kinda mentioned it, but I didn't really catch on or think much of it at the time. Anyway, we met, and I wasn't looking to drag things out either. I straight up asked her to marry me right off the bat. And she said yes, like right away, no hesitation. So yeah, we ended up having the wedding. Big restaurant, whole deal. I dropped a lot of money on it. 'Cause in Moscow, a wedding ain't cheap, man. And she was a born and raised Muscovite, while I was just a provincial. just some guy from the sticks. All her girlfriends were local too, so I had to put on a bit of a show, make it look classy, you know? But that's not the sad part. The real mess started after the wedding. At that point, when I finally had a wife, I was thinking, that's it, I finally got lucky. Real life starts now. Her family had some land in the Moscow suburbs, and I was like, let's go. So I started working my ass off, making even more money. Before, I was just working to make some cash. It was good money, but nothing more. But after that, I really kicked it into overdrive. 'Cause now I had a wife, a family, all that. If you're the man in the house, then it's on you to provide. So I started making real money and even started building a house. Then, like 2 months after we got married, she hits me with, I'm pregnant. Man, when I heard that, I was over the moon, just pure happiness. If I was already working my ass off before, I doubled down after that. I turned it into a grind, working like crazy. I was grinding non-stop. Back then, I was working just to support one person, the woman I called my wife. But the second I found out there was a baby on the way, man, I started working like I was 10 men. Bought a car, started building a house. Things were really moving. A few months go by, maybe 5, and she had this friend, Olga. Olga had a private house out of town. One day she invites us over. We go, have some drinks. You know how it goes. And at some point, Olga, kinda drunk, pulls me aside and starts talking. She goes, you know, I see how hard you're working. Any wife would be lucky to have that. I actually feel sorry for you. I'm like, what do you mean sorry? We're both tipsy, and my ex, Olesia, she wasn't drinking because of the pregnancy. So yeah, her friend takes me aside for a little talk and drops this on me. Why are you working 3 jobs? I go, I've got a wife and we've got a baby on the way. That's why. And then she hits me with, listen, you know that baby's not even yours, right? I'm like, what the hell do you mean? And she goes, it's her ex's kid. Being drunk as I was, I didn't believe a word of it. Thought it was just some jealous drama, girl-on-girl nonsense. So I brushed it off, didn't dig deeper, didn't make a scene. We spent a little more time there and went home like nothing happened. Olesia had a really bad case of morning sickness, like hardcore. She could barely eat anything at all during the pregnancy. I had to drive her to this private clinic pretty much every day for IV drips. Not just any drips, special ones they give pregnant women when they can't eat to keep the body going and make sure the baby develops right. Had to take her in every morning before work, then she'd get home by taxi after the procedure, and that went on for around a month non-stop. So one day, like any other, I'm driving her to the clinic. Had a meeting with a client right after, at a job site. I hit Leningradskoye highway, and then the client calls me like, Konstantin, plans changed, let's meet tomorrow instead. I'm like, all right, cool. So I turned the car around, and I'm thinking, she's still at the private clinic, right? No point in her getting a taxi when I can just swing by, pick her up, and drive her home myself. I pull up to the clinic, and she's not there. I call her, no answer. Call again, nothing. Third time, still nothing. I'm like, okay, maybe she didn't hear the phone or something. So I head home. Our building was laid out kind of funny. 3 houses in a row, all lined up, and only one entrance into the yard, like a little turnaround spot. You go in, swing the car around in that circle, and that's your exit too. We lived in the first building. Soon as you pull in, first house, first entrance. So I'm turning into our yard, right? And boom, there's this car right in front of me, head on. We're just sitting there, face to face, me looking through my windshield at the guy, him looking back at me. And who do I see sitting next to him? My wife, Olesya. First thought, must be a taxi driver. Thing is, now all the taxis are wrapped up in yellow with checkers and all that, but this was back in 2010. Not every car was marked back then, so I didn't think much of it. Just figured, okay, regular cab. She saw me, got out of the car, and went into the building. I let the guy pass, he drove off, I parked and went inside. Week goes by, and the same exact thing happens. Same damn car, head on again. And that's when something finally clicked in my head. Like, hold on, this ain't right. But those words Olga told me a couple months earlier, they were buried deep in my brain, didn't even pop up right away. I come home, and Olesya's all jittery, nervous as hell. I'm like, what's going on? And she blames it on the pregnancy again, of course. Time keeps passing. It's month 7. Tension's building, like something's about to blow. One day, I walk in, and I just snap. Grab her by the arms, not violent but firm. And I say, listen, either you tell me the truth right now, or I'm out. And that's when she drops the bomb. The baby's not yours. Man, can you even imagine? All that time, all that energy, all that faith I put into building a future, brick by brick, felt like I'd finally built something that looked like happiness. And once again, a woman came along and smashed it all to pieces. I don't even know how to explain what that felt like. It was like this woman, my mom, right from her womb, she was trying to rip me apart. Through the pregnancy, through all that struggle, all the stress, I carried it, pushed through it, fought through it. And just when it felt like maybe things were finally falling into place, boom, all of it just wiped out. I was 28 at the time. Just like that, a woman comes in and wrecks everything, and I wasn't even drinking back then. I don't really drink now either, but when I heard the truth, man, I wanted to die, straight up. I went on a bender so bad, I pissed myself, shit myself. I was slamming vodka like it was water. And the crazy part is that I hate vodka. Can't even stand the smell of it. But I was downing it like it was the only thing keeping me alive. Even just the smell of vodka makes me gag. But back then, man, I was in so much pain, so deep down in my soul, like someone stomped me into dust. I can't even describe that feeling properly. Words just don't exist for it. There's no language that captures what I went through. I wasn't just broken. I was shattered. Everything I built for years, everything I was chasing, everything I held sacred, she just came in and wrecked it, like it was nothing. That's when I lost it, completely. Started drinking heavy, like real heavy. I had my own company by then, and I drank it all away. Literally everything. Burned it to the ground. The company was officially registered, legit business. But then the tax office started coming at me. Problems started piling up because I wasn't fulfilling contracts with clients. Clients started suing me. And I didn't give a single shit. I just kept drinking, sending everyone to hell. I didn't care about the world, didn't care about anything anymore. That was the first real hit. And not just a stab in the back. Nah, this was deep. A hit to the core. One of those wounds that never fully heals. Sure, time covers it up, like a scab over a cut. But deep inside it still bleeds. The pain stays there. That's when I relapsed. And yeah, that's when the criminal stuff started. I got into fights, started stealing. Everything just spiraled. I completely broke down. Didn't care about anyone or anything. They ended up locking me up for 2 years. Got charged under Article 159, fraud. Basically, I drank my business into the ground, and one of the clients pressed charges for breach of contract. So yeah, 2 years. That was my first bid. And on top of that, I got mixed up in some shady bank schemes. All while I was drinking. My past life pulled up my old crew. They had a little scheme going on. And since I'd already drunk away everything, had zero cash, they go, "Yo, we got this bank hustle, you can make some real money." So yeah, I got into some shady business, and in the end, it all caught up with me at once. They shut it all down, and boom, I was done. Got locked up. Straight 2 years. They threw me in. I did my time. But you know what? I picked myself back up in prison, did my time, kept my head down. When I got out, I got back on my feet, started working again. First job was driving a taxi. Hustled, made some cash, started switching up cars, moving up slowly. As for that kid, while I was inside, she used to write me. I'd tell her to go to hell every time. Didn't want to hear a single word from her. Got out early too. Parole for good behavior. I was working inside, keeping it clean. Instead of doing the full 2 years, I served 1 year and 8 months. Got out, started working again. Met a new girl. Solid one. Hard-working. Real decent. I got back to work. Started living like a normal dude again. No more mess, no more drama. Tried to put the past behind me, all those screw-ups and heartbreaks. I was still registered in Czechoslovakia at the time. And one day, my older sister goes back there. We had an apartment there. She checks the mail, pulls out this mountain of letters. Out of that whole stack, maybe 10 of them were mine. Big pile. All about child support. Not my child. Turns out, that same woman, the one who tried to pass off someone else's kid as mine, yeah, she was trying to pin alimony on me, trying to make me pay for a kid that never was mine. Man, that was just over the line. It doesn't fly with me. Like, it wasn't enough that she straight up lied to me. Now she's trying to cash in off me too? Filing for child support on a kid that's not even mine? Nah, that was too much. By that point, I had already erased her from my life completely. She was gone in my head, just didn't exist anymore. I didn't think about her, didn't remember her name, like she never happened. That year and 8 months inside, that was more than enough to wipe the slate clean and start fresh. I was already building a new life. Then my sister calls me up one day like, "Konstantin, you've got letters piling up here." So I go to my hometown, she hands them over, and bam, freaking child support notices. I couldn't believe it. So I hit up social media, dug around till I found my ex-wife's number. Gave her a call, just to ask one thing. Why? Why the hell would you pull something like that? I mean, let's be real. The kid ain't mine. There's nothing tying us together anymore. No connection, no shared life, nothing. It's all long gone. We split ages ago, and the kid? Not even mine. So if you're still in touch with your ex, why the hell you dragging me back into this? What's the point? What do I have to do with any of it now? I decided I needed answers, so I called her. At first, she didn't even recognize who was calling. Didn't take her long to realize it was me. And she started hanging up on me, just dropping the call, because she had nothing to say, no answers, not a damn thing she could explain. Every time I called her, she'd just hang up. And I wasn't gonna pay child support for someone else's kid. I wanted to sort this shit out, once and for all. At the time, I had my car parked nearby. Already cracked open a beer. Yeah, I was rattled. Had exactly 3,200 rubles in my pocket. I remember that clear as day. The second I saw those letters, my whole body started shaking. Just pure rage. She'd popped back into my life out of nowhere. Again. I couldn't believe it. I stepped outside, grabbed another beer and downed it right there. By then it was already around 8 p.m. At first I thought about driving myself, but I figured, if the cops stop me, that's it. Goodbye license. So I called a taxi. When the driver pulls up, I go, "Listen, bro, I need a round trip from Shchelkovo to Solnechnogorsk, village called Novaya." I ask him, "How much?" He goes, "That's gonna be 6,000. I tell him straight, "I don't have that kind of cash. No bullshit. Here's my wallet. I've got 3,200 rubles. That's it. Just get me there, and I'll figure out the rest on my own." He's like, nah, bro." So I stepped away from them for a bit. There were like 5 taxi guys standing around. I walked off, grabbed myself a coffee, and just stood there thinking, how the hell do I get out there and talk to her? Olesia, face to face. I needed to know why she did this, why she threw that debt on me, knowing damn well it wasn't right. Then that same taxi guy, seeing there weren't any other passengers, comes over and goes, "All right, fine, let's go for 3,000. I'll take you there and drop you off." I said, "Cool, let's go." So we hop in the car. Wasn't Yandex taxi or anything, just some street hustler working off the books. And I knew that whole road by heart. I used to live out there. Knew every turn, every shortcut, whether it was through Dmitrovka, Leningradka, the bypass, the 49th kilometer. I had it all in my head. I used to drive a taxi myself. I knew those roads. But this dude, he takes some weird-ass route between Dmitrovka and Leningradka, through Dmitrovskoye highway, past Sheremetyevo, cutting through all these back roads, summer house areas, tiny village streets. And it's November, pure slush season, snow, rain, mud, straight misery. We end up in some private neighborhood, and boom, we get stuck. Cars spinning out. I jump out, try to push. It's front-wheel drive, not meant for off-road. The dude hits the gas and blasts me with mud. I'm covered head to toe. Man, I was pissed. Somehow I get the car out, we keep going. Then we get stuck in a traffic jam at a railroad crossing, just sitting there, crawling. We finally make it out of that jam around 8 p.m. Didn't roll into Solnechnogorsk till near midnight. So we're almost there, like literally 2 kilometers left to the destination. And the guy suddenly hits me with this. He goes, Hey bro, sorry it took so long. We got stuck in traffic, but you gotta understand, the car's rented. We agreed on 3,000, but you'll need to pay extra. I go, wait, what do you mean extra? He says, well, you get it, right? I burned more gas than expected. I'm like, listen, that's your problem, not mine. You're the one who took the detour. If I hadn't pushed your car out of the mud, you'd still be stuck back there in that village. So yeah, one word led to another, and it escalated. He goes, so you're not paying more? I was like, I showed you what I had in my wallet before we even started. 3,200 rubles. And we agreed on 3K. That was the deal. And yeah, on the way I grabbed a coffee and some other stuff. So by now I didn't even have that extra 200 left. Just the 3K. I go, here's the 3K, like we agreed. That's it. That's all you're getting. He goes, nope, that's not gonna work for me. I'll just drop you off right here then. I say, go ahead, drop me. So he pulls over and kicks me out. Right there on the highway, dark as hell, almost midnight, Pyatnitskoye highway. No streetlights, nothing, just darkness. It's November, cold as shit. I got no hat, no gloves, just a jacket. So I start walking along the road, freezing my ass off. Wind's piercing. Turns out later, after the investigation, he actually drove off about 3 kilometers from where he dropped me. That's how far the detectives tracked him using the GPS on the rental car. He parked somewhere, smoked a cigarette, then flipped a U-turn and started heading back toward me. Meanwhile, I'm out there walking in that wind. Fields on both sides, just a highway. Air temperature is only like -2 by Celsius, but with that wind, feels like 15, maybe 20 below zero. I was freezing, like shaking, teeth chattering kind of cold. And while I'm walking, I'm thinking, I still had another 3 kilometers to go to get to Olesia. At that point, I was over it. Got fully sober. All that fire I had, gone. I'm thinking, what the hell am I even doing here? Covered in mud, ditched on the side of the road, frozen stiff. Driver bailed on me. Now I'm just out here in the dark like an idiot. And I remember thinking, screw that. First car I see, whether it's heading back to Moscow or deeper into the countryside, I'm flagging it down and going with it. I don't even care anymore if I make it to Olesia or not. Covered in mud, shivering, pissed off, and tired of everything. Then I see headlights coming at me. The car's headed toward Moscow. I'm walking the opposite way. Can't tell what kind of car it is, just blinded by the beams. No clue on the color, can't make it out, just light. So I start waving, trying to flag it down. Car slows down, pulls over. I walk up, and it's him again, that same taxi driver. He steps out and goes, well, changed your mind? I go, changed my mind about what? He says, you found the money yet? I go, I told you I don't have any more money. And he's like, well, let's go to your ex. She'll give you the cash. We'll get the money from her, and you'll pay me. Wanna go? Mind you, during the ride earlier, I told him my whole story. About the ex, the fake child support, the whole mess. And I just snap. I look at him and go, listen here, fuck off. That's it. It popped off. Words turn into shouting. Shouting turns into pushing. And now we're in it. We're on Pyatnitskoye highway, a 2-lane road. Snow plows had already been through, so on both sides of the road were these big snowbanks, left and right, just mounds of snow. This dude, He's a unit, like 6 foot something, taller than 182 centimeters for sure, probably 100 kilos easy. I'm around 5.7 feet, 170 centimeters with my cap on, maybe 70 kilos soaking wet. He throws a punch, sends me flying into a snowbank, straight into the ditch. I start crawling out like, "What the hell, you bastard? What the hell are you doing?" More yelling, more back and forth. He hits me again, and I go flying into the snow again, and it's slippery as hell. Every time I try to get my footing, my legs slide out. Second hit knocks me deep into the snow, into this roadside ditch. It's like a slope down there. Snow's soft and deep. Every step, your feet sink. He's on elevation, standing solid on the flat road, and I'm stuck down below, flailing in the snow like an idiot. He's got the high ground, literally, and I'm stuck in a damn snow pit, trying not to get my ass beat again. I'm trying to climb out of that ditch, and every time I almost get up, bam, he kicks me right back down. My legs can't get any grip. I'm slipping like crazy. I'm thinking, "You bastard, what the hell do I do now?" He's blocking me from getting out, just standing there like a wall. Behind me, nothing but an open field, waist deep in snow. No way I'm going back. It's either get out onto that road or freeze out here. And this prick's not letting me. That's when I realize I got no options. It's either forward or nowhere. So I brace my legs as best as I can, find some kind of footing. He's standing right in front of me, so I shoot in for a leg grab. Classic wrestling move, like a double leg takedown. I grab his pant leg, yank. He stumbles but shakes me off. I go again, grab at him, and that's when he pulls something out. Next thing I know, he's slashing at my hands. My hands were frozen stiff, numb from the cold, so at first I didn't even feel it was a blade. Just this weird pressure. Then I pull my hands back and feel this sticky mess. Look down. It's blood. My blood. I look up, and he's standing there, holding a knife. And in that moment, when I realized I'm bleeding, stuck below him, and he's armed, I just snapped. Then he starts yelling, not just threats, but the filthiest shit you can imagine. He's screaming, "I'm gonna kill you. I'll rape your wife. I'll make your bitch sell her ass on a highway. I'll fuck you in the mouth, you piece of shit." Just disgusting, twisted stuff. Stuff no man can let slide. I pulled everything I had left together, every bit of my strength, dug my feet into the dirt under the snow, and launched myself out of that ditch like a spring. I slammed into his legs, brought him down, full-on takedown. He fell back, and as he hit the ground, he dropped the knife, probably reflex, trying to break the fall with his hands. Now he's on his back, I'm on top, by his legs. I start crawling up his body, trying to get controls, but he starts fighting, trying to grab the knife again. I manage to get my hand on it first. He pushes me off, gets on his feet, and throws a punch, but I stay on my feet. I've got the knife. I move in close, slip between his hands, and I hit him. One strike, right in the neck. He collapses onto my knees. Suddenly there's this rush of blood, thick, fast. He starts gasping, choking, making this awful sound. And I'm just kneeling there, shaking. It's dark, cold, quiet, except for his breathing turning to gurgling. I'm looking down at him in the dark. He's still for a second. Then he starts twitching, and the blood just keeps coming. The whole thing happened so fast. like in one instant. It was shock, full on. No time to think, no time to process. Just this wave of panic hitting me. I look down, knife still in my hand, and I'm thinking, what the hell just happened? He was still alive, barely. So I grabbed that same knife and cut his seatbelt, lifted his left arm, tied it off to try to block the bleeding from his neck. I wasn't trying to let him bleed out right there in front of me. I shoved him into the back of his own car, floored it, and headed toward the local hospital. I was thinking I could maybe get him there in time, but I didn't make it. He didn't make it. I was like a kilometer out when I pulled up to a security gate. There was a guard there, and he asks, "Where you going?" I say, "To the hospital. I got a man dying in the back seat." While I'm talking to the guard, I swing open the back door, and he's already gone. Head tilted back, no movement. He'd bled out on the way. And that's when the real fear hit me, that I'd just killed someone. Up to that point, I didn't know what that felt like. Didn't know what it meant to take someone's life. That was the first time someone died basically in my hands. And yeah, he was my enemy in that moment. But still, it shook me to my core. Didn't know what to do. Eventually, I drove his car away from the hospital, left it parked off to the side of the road. His ride had a GPS tracker, rental car, remember? A day later, they filed a missing person report on him. Cops tracked the GPS, found the car, found the body. And near the GPS location, in that 50-meter radius, there were only 2 phones pinging off the tower, his and mine. That was it. No other phones, no other people around. So it wasn't hard for the cops to find me. My SIM card was registered in my name. Soon as they ran it, full name, full address, they had me. So yeah, that's how I got locked up. I ended up getting 10.5 years. Like I said, prosecutors don't give a damn about the details. Whole justice system's the same. They don't even try to dig into the case. At the time, they were about to hit me with Article 105, Part 2, which means I was this close to life in prison. Would have been done for good if it wasn't for my lawyer. And even that cost me a lot of money. Back in 2015, I had to drop 500,000 rubles just to get someone solid to defend me. Big money back then, man. So yeah, that's how I landed in prison. One hearing, then another, then another. All I got was blaming. No one gave a shit about my side of the story. They didn't listen, didn't care. Prosecutors just pushed for the maximum sentence from the jump, because there was one thing that made it all even worse. When I left the body by the roadside, the knife wound was to the neck. So yeah, blood everywhere. And while the guy was still warm, stray dogs must have caught the scent. Most likely they tore his head off. So when the cops found the body, the head was separate. And here we go. They threw on extra charges: murder with extreme cruelty, dismemberment, all that brutal sounding shit. Even though anyone with eyes could see what really happened. But that one detail, that was enough for them to try and nail me with life imprisonment. I mean, you could visibly tell it wasn't cut. It was ripped. Didn't matter to them. My lawyer had to fight like hell for 6 months just to prove the truth. If it wasn't for my lawyer, I'd probably still be locked up right now, doing life somewhere in that high-security hellhole like Black Dolphin. And how many dudes out there got no cash for a proper lawyer? And just like that, they get swallowed up by the system, end up pulling heavy time, whole lives shattered over it. Happens all the time, but that's a whole different story. Anyway, my lawyer eventually managed to get a second expert analysis done, a proper forensic one. not the basic BS they tried to pass off at first. At the final hearing, she brought in this detailed forensic report, and it straight up said, black and white, that if the head had been cut off with a knife, there'd be clean blade marks on the spinal bone. Muscle would have been sliced, not torn. But the report showed the opposite. The flesh was ripped, not cut, and the vertebrae had clear bite marks, real, visible animal teeth marks. That was the only thing that saved me, dropped the charge from part 2 to part 1. That's how I landed on 10.5 years. Not life, but still a serious sentence. And how did I even end up there? It wasn't premeditated murder. It happened in a fight. I was defending myself. He came at me with a knife. I didn't set out to kill anyone. This all started just because I wanted to sort it out with my ex-wife, why she filed child support for a kid that wasn't even mine, all because of money. My ex tried to pin someone else's kid on me for cash. The cab driver flipped over money. So many greedy people. All this chaos, all this mess, for money. And in the end, I got 10.5 years. Even though I should have gotten less. But that's what it is. I mean, real talk. I could have easily ended up with a life sentence, just like that, out of nowhere. If it wasn't for my lawyer, and the fact that I had the money, I'd be rotting inside forever. She managed to knock that shit down from life to 10.5 years. Even then, the prosecutors were foaming at the mouth. They wanted to bury me alive. According to the sentence, I'd be getting out at 44. But let's be honest, 44, that's it. By then, your prime years are done, the most productive part of life is gone. Everything starts sliding downhill. And I was sitting in that cell thinking, how the hell am I supposed to live after this? Even if I make it out, I'm an ex-con and nobody wants such people around. But maybe, I don't know, God heard me, because I ended up serving 7 years, and then the special military operation kicked off. At the time, I was locked up in Nizhny Novgorod, in a zone where they keep former law enforcement and military. It was one of those heavy-duty red zones. Not like the black zones with regular inmates. The reason why they put me in that prison is that I used to serve in the FSB. That's why they didn't throw me into general pop with the rest of the inmates. Instead, I got placed in with the ex-cops, ex-military, the so-called clean zone. But don't get it twisted. It was still rough as hell. I always tried to keep my distance from all that prison filth, all that grime. 'Cause deep down, I still wanted to live by conscience and truth. Even surrounded by all that, I tried to hold on to whatever good I could find, keep that inside me, so that when I got out, I could live straight, live right. Then the special military operation started. And a bunch of us, real ones, men with heart, we felt it hard. What was happening on the front lines? It cut deep. We couldn't just sit there. We felt it in our guts. About 300 of us stepped forward. The prison had around 900 to 1,000 inmates total. But out of all of them, we were the ones whose souls bled for what was going on. We wanted to fight. We wanted to help our boys out there. 'Cause no matter what labels they stuck on us, thugs, criminals, whatever, we were real men, real patriots. In that group of 300, there were all kinds. Former cops, guys from the Ministry of Emergency Situations, operatives, former FSB officers. A lot of them were locked up for nothing. If those 300 guys were rotten to the core, trust me, they wouldn't have lifted a finger for this country. But they stepped up. We were the very first ones to do it. And yeah, we heard it all. They won't give you weapons. They'll just throw you into the meat grinder. You'll be digging trenches like tractors. But not a single one of us pulled out. Not one. We didn't care. We honestly didn't give a damn what happened to us. Give us shovels? Fine, we'll dig. Throw us in the front line? No problem. All we wanted, all any of us wanted, was to get there and do something, anything. Even if it meant digging trenches, storming positions, whatever. We just wanted to help. We were ready to tear through anything for our soldiers, for the civilians caught in the middle of it all. Out of that whole prison, 900, maybe 1,000 guys, around 300 volunteered to go to war. And many of them, they weren't doing it to cut time. They were patriots. A lot of them had just a little bit of time left to serve anyway. They were almost out. But still, they stood up. And why were they locked up in the first place? Same story as mine. Sentenced without digging into the truth, just to hit the quota. That's the system. Some didn't have the money for a lawyer. Some just never caught a break in life. But there, in 2022, when all of us came together, we made that choice. We wrote our names down, signed the forms, and sent in a request to go to war. Names, signatures, everything legit. We were ready. Sent the request once, then again, third time, fourth, fifth, 5 letters total, no response, silence. And then, out of nowhere, one day someone shows up, gets us all together, lines us up and says, "Guys, here's the deal.